Right. Hi, I'm Tammy Wheelock, and I'm a content strategist on the Finance and Operations R&D team.
And I'm Amy Langlois, and I run the content team for the customer engagement side of the house, formerly CRM. So we're here today to talk to you about documentation, product information, about the Dynamics 365 products and services. Before we start, can you give us a show of hands who's interested in finance and operations? Okay. And then do I assume everybody else is interested in customer engagement? A couple. Okay, cool. Thanks. That's helpful, so we can tune where we spend our time. Okay. Thanks. Okay. All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about where can you find the information that you need, and then Tammy will do her bit about finance and operations, and then I'll talk about customer engagement. Okay, so we have a new content site, which we're pretty excited about. All of the content now is on docs.microsoft.com, or will be soon. So for the customer engagement side of the house, all of the new content is here, and we're moving all of the old content. The great thing about being on one site is you got one place to go for all of your Dynamics 365 information. It's also the same site where you'll find Azure and SQL and Visual Studio and all the other technical products like that. So it's great to be in one place. We have, our teams all work together, and we make sure we have the consistent banner so you can get to the information you need about what's new for the products and services. If you need fast track, the roadmap. The roadmap is pretty interesting, and Tammy's going to show that.
Whenever you can you guys get your mics close to your mouth?
And then ideas is where you're going to go to put in your product suggestions or your feature suggestions, access to support and training. So some of the things that we have in the new site, which are, which will help you, is breadcrumbs for context, so you can always see which product set, which doc set you're in. You can generate a PDF, so you can take something away with you. Gone are the days of shipping chums. Those are, old news. And then, of course, contextual search, which will help you find the information you need. Okay, the other place we put information is on YouTube. When you go to YouTube, if you go to the Dynamics 365 channel, you're going to find there's a lot of videos out there. There's a bunch of them that are more pre-sales oriented, case studies and that sort of thing, but our teams put all of our information in the how-to playlist. So if you go to the how-to playlist, you're going to see these sections. So if you're interested just in sales, that's where you're going to see the sales videos and so forth. So, and again, Tammy will show you a little bit about that later. Okay, so I'm gonna hand it off to Tammy and keep going.
All right, so like I said, I'm Tammy Wheelock, and I'm on the Finance and Operations content team. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about where the content is available on our doc site, where else you can find it, where there are available resources. We'll also talk about task guides, how to use them, how to customize them, and some other options and other resources that are available to help you out. So all of our content now is on the doc site, like Amy mentioned. In the past, we've delivered our help on a wiki, and before that, it was the help server, MSDN, TechNet. So now all of our topics are on the doc site. It's available for you to comment on, as well as participate in threaded discussions. So you can also see our content from the doc site from our help pane. So you're in the client, you need a little help, hit the help button. The help pane moves in, and you'll see topics from our doc sites, which is our more conceptual information, as well as task guides. Another feature of our documentation is becoming much more business process orientated and task focused. The feedback that we've received in the past is that we tell you how to do all these tasks, but we don't show you how all these tasks fit together. So business processes are really the organizing principle of that. So the documentation is becoming much more organized around the business processes, as are task guides. Now, task guides are associated with a BPM library, or a business process modeler library, over in LCS, Lifecycle Services. So you can see how all these tasks start fitting together until you start customizing your system. So task guides. Speaking of task guides, what is a task guide? A task guide is an interactive walkthrough of a task that you're trying to accomplish within the client. And I'll show a task guide here later on in the session. Now you can create your own task guides. You can customize our task guides. For the finance and operation, I have a quick survey. Finance and operation people out there, do you guys use task guides? Anybody? Okay. That means we don't need this slide. Anyway, so like I mentioned, you can customize task guides. Another option for customizing content is you can add, so say you customize your client, you add a field, you think that the user could use a little bit more information about the field of what to do, maybe what not to do, you can add help text to that field, and we'll take a look at how to do that a little bit later on. We are working on making our content on the doc site publicly editable, and we'll moderate those contributions. That is coming. It's in the pipeline. We're working on a pilot for that later on this calendar year, maybe early next calendar year. So it is in the plans. Another available resources are our reference docs. So there's information already available in the AOT. It's in the product somewhere. So rather than us writing a separate topic for it that you need to go search someplace for it and hope you can find it, we're starting to embed some reports that you can run and automatically generate that information. Another available resource is your API reference docs. In the past, this has been a highly distributed set of content, like 400,000 topics. We've consolidated that down to 400 topics, and so it's a much more concise, usable set of content. And I'll show you an example of those a little later on. All right, another new feature is the roadmap site. So roadmap.dynamics.com, that's for all Dynamics 365 products. You can see the features that were released in a previous version, features that are in development, what's coming down the pipeline. And then you can also see the features that are available in the current. We have a What's New tab, what's available in the current release. All right, so we have all this fantastic content out there. How are you going to find it? How are you going to get to it? So you can use Bing or maybe another search engine to find all of our topics out there on our doc site. Like I mentioned, we have our help pane. You're in the client, you need a little help on the task you're trying to accomplish. Hit the help button, help pane moves in. You have a tab for task guides, which is more of our procedural help. And then our docs, it'll display topics from our doc site. And these are the topics that are related to the task you're trying to accomplish on that form. So you don't get the whole list of everything docs. Our doc site has all of our topics. The help pane will show the topics that are related to that page. Customer source, that's the place where you want to go find your training. We're working on getting a landing page from customer source over to our doc site. And our doc site, like I mentioned, that contains all of our topics for all of our application users, as well as our developer and implementer audiences. So help pane. So let's talk about why you see what you see when you're over in the help pane. So we got the help pane there in the middle. We got our task guides tab, which is once again is the more procedural information, and our docs topics or our wiki topics, and that's more of our conceptual information. So on the task guides that you'll see task guides from the global BPM library, which are those are the task guides that we've created. Microsoft PMs have created. We've shipped these. We continuously ship them with BPM library updates. You can also, so depending on how customized your system is, you can start by just copying our whole library. You can copy our task guides one by one. It all depends on what you want to do. You can also display task guides from a partner BPM library, as well as a customer BPM library. And I'll show you how you do that over in the client. So like I said, you're in the client, you get your help pane, you have your task guides, as well as your docs topics. So what do you see in the docs topics? You'll see the Microsoft topics from our docs site, as well as any community comments, threaded discussions. And like I mentioned, we're working on getting a private solution for private documentation. All right, the demo. So what are we going to take a look at? We're going to take a look at field help. Oh, sorry, just a second. There we go. We're going to take a look at field help, what's available for help descriptions, another way of looking at that information, and as well as a pulled form report. We're going to take a look at configuring help. How can you get the task guides that you want to see displaying over in the help pane? Then we'll take a look at a task guide, what a task guide looks like, how you can, let's show a demonstration what it can be useful for, which will move us to the help pane, show us what we see in the help pane. Then we'll take a look at the doc site, and then we'll move on to a couple other resources you might find useful, like the roadmap site, ideas site. We'll take a quick peek at YouTube, and then I'll finish up with some topics that you might find useful. All right, so field help. Let's go take a look at what we have for. So right now, you're in the system and you're looking for a little bit more help about a field. A user could use a little bit more information. Right now, we've got some field descriptions in there. This is for the more complex fields. We did not add field descriptions for all the fields. We felt like some of the fields were pretty self-explanatory. But here, you can see you hover over the field and you get some pop-up text with a little bit more contextual information about the field and what you should be doing or what the user can expect. Another way to see this information is we have a field descriptions report. And if we scroll down here, so here we'll go to our accounts payable parameters form. So just another way of looking at the information that's already in here. So these are all the fields that have field descriptions on the accounts payables parameters form. So a couple ways to look at the information. So there, if you add a field to a form and you think that your user could use a little bit more help, you can add information in the help text property and let the user know what they should do, maybe what they shouldn't do, a little bit more information about what that field is meant for. And I'll show you a little bit, I'll show you something that will help you do that here in a bit. Okay, so moving on to configuring help. So you have task guides. So we're going to first start over here. So here's Lifecycle Services and the BPM libraries. I've got my project up here, and what you see here are your global libraries, your corporate global libraries, those are our libraries, the Microsoft libraries that we publish. Corporate libraries, those are more of the partner libraries. And then you've got my libraries, which is your in-progress customer libraries. So what you want to do over in the client, over in Finance and Operations, is you want to select this project that contains the libraries that contain the task guides that you want to display, and then and select that. So back over here, we'll go over to the system parameters. All right, so we'll go to the Help tab here. One thing to note is when you first come in here, you're going to be prompted to hook up to LCS. You're going to get a dialog that says, hey, hook up to LCS, get your connection. So just wanted to let you know that that's going to happen. So here we have what you do is you select your project, and here are your libraries that contain the task guides. So you can rearrange the order of the task guides, and the order that they appear, that you select here, are the order that they appear on the task guide tab on your help pane. You can, if you don't want to display some task guides from a library, you just have to unmark it. So what you do is you select your project, you click save, it goes over and grabs the appropriate libraries, brings them over, hit save, select your libraries, and there you are. That's all you need to do. One thing to note is if you don't select anything in here, you won't have any task guides displaying. So if you want task guides to display for your user, you'll want to select a library or a project here, and a library for that matter. The other thing to note is an admin will want to do this. We are authenticating, so the person will want to be a project member over in LCS. We do that so not every user can go adjusting the help experience for the whole system. So just one thing to note. All right, so we've set up our help system. Let's go take a look at a task guide. So I'm a new user, and I need to enter, let's say, a free text invoice. Oops, probably not Fred. All right, so we're going to help. And here, So here's our help panes. We've got a task guides tab as well as a wiki tab. So the task guides, these are the task guides from the libraries that were selected over on my help, on the help parameters. So I'm a new user, so I think create a free text invoice, that seems like it'll be a good selection to help me, a new user who needs to learn how to enter a free text invoice. All right, so here's my task guide. This is the reading pane, the reading description. So you can go, as you can see, there are steps, it tells you where you need to go, has some additional information. Now, we don't expect a user to use a task guide every time they complete the task. We expect when they're learning, then they will, utilize the task guide. After that, maybe they'll use, there's that one step they can't quite remember, then they can use the reading pane here. But me, I'm a new user, I don't know how to do it. So let's figure out how to enter free text invoice. So we'll start the task guide. All right, it tells me where I need to go, so I'm already here, so we're gonna move on to telling me it's this guided walkthrough. So I click new, and it just moves me along the process. And then there's this. So this is what is known as an informational step. So it doesn't require any, it's just saying, hey, user, this is what's going on with this field. Gives you a little bit more information about what you need to do, maybe what not to do. And the only thing the user doesn't need to enter anything in the client, but you can hit got it, and then it gives you a little bit more information about this is why this is happening. This is why you don't have an invoice number. So it just gives a lot of information about the fields for the end user. All right, so I'm going to enter a description here. And I'll tab off, and I wanted to show you this step. So now in this step, the user saying, excuse me, the user needs to enter a main account. It's giving you it has a note down here where it's telling you a little bit more information what you can either enter or select. So, so that's our task guide. I'm going to stop this task guide. So you can get the idea of it. It walks you through the whole task from beginning to end, so it helps the user learn the task. So moving on we'll move on to the wiki tab, which is more of our docs. And these are topics from our docs site. So if I select, and now these are all the topics that are related to the form that I was just on. I select the topic, and it brings us out over to our docs site. So this is, like Amy mentioned, this is docs.microsoft. This is for all products. So, but right now we're in finance and operations. So this is all of our topics for the application user as well as the developer and implementer audiences. As you can see, it has a little bit more conceptual information about what's going on with the form. It has a TOC here. One thing to note is there's a feedback on the bottom. You can sign in, you can comment on the topic, you can participate in threaded discussions. So this is a great way to leave feedback about a comment, about a topic. All right, so I mentioned earlier that we have API reference. And here's an example of that. So in the past, all these topics listed in the TOC here, those would have been separate topics. Now it is all consolidated into one topic, so it's a much more usable topic. It prevents the user from having to jump around to find all these different topics looking for the information that they need. Okay, let's see. Another resource that I had mentioned is, so here's the roadmap site. This is a great place to look at what features that have been released, what's coming. So it's for all the Dynamics 365 products. I've selected finance and operations. So previously released, those are the features that were released in an earlier version. In development, you can see the features that are planned, the functionality that's coming down the pipeline. And then you've got what's new. You can see these are the features that are available in the current version. One thing that you can do is on the What's New tab. So Platform Update 10 just was released. You can search on Platform Update 10, and then you'll get a list of the features that were released in that release, I guess. Now, right now, this information is being entered manually, as you can see, released with Platform Update 10. In the future, we're adding a filter for the release, all the release information, so you can just select, this is the release I'm looking for, then you can see the features that are associated with that release. So that's coming. And then, so speaking of features, so say you're out there looking at the in development and you have an idea for a new feature or functionality. Out here on our ideas site, this is a great place to enter any ideas that you have for features or functionalities that you'd like to see coming in a later release. You can suggest a new idea. You can vote on the ideas that are already out there. Our developers do put ideas out there to get some feedback from the community. So this is a great place to provide feedback on where you'd like to see any ideas that you have about features and functionality. And let's go take a look. The other resource we want to take a look at is, Amy mentioned, we have a YouTube site. So here's our Microsoft Dynamics 365 YouTube site. If you go to playlists, you want to go to the how-to playlists. And here we have it for customer engagement, for finance and operations. So this is a great place to look for maybe you're looking for a little bit more in-depth information about a feature. This is a great place to go check out. All right, excuse me. All right, before I go back to the PowerPoint, a couple things I want to point out about the doc site. So here we have filtering and we've got searching. So one thing, just a little tip, if you know the title of your topic, you can just filter right over here and it will just filter all the topics in the TOC that contain that word. It's a great way quick way to find the topic if you know the name of your topic, or at least you know a word that's in the topic. Search does your normal, look across the whole site and give you a list of topics. So filter and search. All right, so a couple topics that you might find useful. The lifecycle policy topic. The reason I bring this up is down here, if you scroll down, you have a table of all the application versions that contain the names, the version numbers, drill down for more information, as well as the platform releases. So this is a great source of information to keep track of what the releases are, when they were released. So you might find that useful. The other, other topic is, I had mentioned, is that you can add a field description. So customized field help. This is a topic that will walk you all the way through adding your help description, or the description in the help text property, what you need to do, how you need to do it. That topic will walk you through everything you need to do. And one last topic I wanted to show you is the task recorder topic. As I mentioned, you can create your own task guides or customize our task guides. Task recorder is the tool that you use to create the task guides and customize task guides. So this topic, it'll tell you everything you need to do about everything you need in relation to BPM, how to do the task guides, how to edit a task guide. So that'll walk you through everything. All right, so sorry, I went backwards here a little bit. All right, here we are. Sorry about that. So we do have a number of reference reports available for the developer and implementer audience. We took a look at the field and the form reports. I listed here a few of the other reports that are available that you might find interesting. And just want to finish up by saying we're listening. Like I mentioned, we have the bottom form there is you can provide feedback. You can on the topic. You can participate in threaded discussions. We've got our help pane. In the help pane, if you're in the help pane and in the client and you're looking for help on a particular form and there is no help, please let us know. Fill out the form, let us know what you're looking for. We'd love to hear the feedback. And then the little one down in the left-hand corner there, actually on each topic out on our doc site, you can click yes or no, provide the feedback. That one you do not need to log in to provide the feedback. The bigger box on the bottom of the topics you do need to log in for. So there's a couple ways. And then lastly, we have our ideas site, like I mentioned. We'd love to hear the feedback about the features and functionality that you'd like to see in an earlier release or later releases. All right, that's it for me. I will turn it over to Amy. Thanks so much. Oh, yeah, any questions? Yes. We are working on that, yes. That was very nice, the RSS feed that you could, yes, absolutely, yes. Yes, absolutely. I do not know that for sure. If you can see me after this session, I will get your contact information, okay? Are there any other questions? All right, thanks so much.
Okay, so let's engagement. You ready? Okay, let's move on to customer engagement. So customer engagement, you can think of as formerly known as CRM, although it's a little bit bigger than that at this point. But the customer engagement products and services include sales, customer service, field service, project service automation. Those are the core 4 of them. And then there's some ancillary services like customer insights, gamification, and social engagement. So let's move on. So, you know, like Tammy, we're here talking about what are your opportunities for getting assistance with while you're using the product, or if you're an implementer or a developer. So we have in-app help that's, you know, pretty ubiquitous, but they do work differently depending on whether you're running one of the on-prem versions of the product, or whether you're running the online service. And with the online service, which has probably the newer and cooler features, but we have both. So on-prem, we have the traditional help pane. When you click the question mark, you're going to get the help pane, and it's going to show you contextual help, which is just like Tammy was talking about. It's what are the interesting things what might you be interested in on this page. Learning Path does the same sort of thing, but we also have, it's funny. I mean, we should work on unifying our language, but we have guided tasks, much like task guides, so just backwards, that will walk people through the steps. You'll see this if you go sign up for a trial. We use Learning Path to give you a tour right away, like what are you seeing on the screen. When we first came out with Learning Path, one of the inspirations was our trial experience, so that we could really do live trials. And in a trial experience is when you really do want to walk somebody through something, maybe get in your face a little bit. We've backed off in the product. Things no longer appear unbidden. So if that was an annoyance in our early release, we've changed that. So now you're only going to see it if you actually click the question mark. So like the finance and operations, we also have the field help, which again is completely customizable. Every field in the product has a description, and all you have to do is go and edit the description. We've done the same thing where we've provided, obviously lots of the fields on forms are self-explanatory, but there might be something that is a little bit trickier, or you want your user to understand, you want the end user to understand what's the benefit of filling this in, like, and often the benefit is reporting. So you can use the descriptions we provided. Of course, if you add your own entities, your own fields on any entity, you can put in your own descriptions that will help your users. The other thing with our on-premises version, you can override help altogether. So, you know, it might be a hospital or a school system, and the help that we have about accounts and contacts and you know, closing leads is completely irrelevant. And so in on-prem, you can completely override the help either at the entity level or globally. And the most common scenario there might be you override it, so when you click the question mark, you'd get a PDF that you've hosted on your own server that has the information your users need. We also provide downloadable Word versions of all of our help. So let's just say you've got a very tailored business process in your app and you want people to see all your steps, then you can use our help as a basis and override it as you see fit. Hand out the PDFs to your customers. Again, that's on-prem. Learning path I will get to a little bit later. Oh, okay, tooltips. And in-app help learning path. So, you know, when you get your slides, you know, click the video here, and it'll tell you all about learning path. But basically, it's self-serve onboarding information. We've been spending most of our time really working on the onboarding scenario, because that is really the hardest thing, is when a user has to use a new tool. And we also have onboarding for the admins. So you're an admin, and what do you have to do first? You have to, you know, set up email, maybe integrate SharePoint, all those steps for onboarding from the admin's point of view. And that's really where we've been spending a lot of our efforts. So Learning Path allows us to focus on all of the stages of a journey. And so, you know, we can provide content, different content for the try phase than after you've bought it or you're deploying, which is really, really powerful. And I'll admit, we've really just scratched the surface on this, and we have a lot more content that we hope to be able to provide. So, for example, these are some of the experiences that we're offering today. So if you're running a trial and you're a business user, we're showing you the show me everything scenario, where you just really want to kind of get a little bit of everything. And that is delivered through the side pane that shows up, and a series of videos that just give you really small tastes, you know, very approachable, less than 2-minute videos about our mobile offerings, for example. Whereas in the admin, if you're an admin, we give you the seven steps to onboarding success. So at any rate, we have a lot of levers to pull on this, and it's been fun to try to figure out what is useful to you. If you are trying to develop your own content using Learning Path, we have a series of strategies that we've published that really help guide you to getting your customers, getting your users productive. As I've said, you know, the tenant is, the office testing has shown that the third time you show somebody, put something in front of people's face, they're out, they're done. And so, you know, we've taken that to heart, and we don't show anything unbidden. In the newer versions of the apps, you'll see one of the very first things, there's this first run experience. The very first time you've logged in, you do have an opportunity of seeing a video or getting a tour, or you can just dismiss that altogether. And as I talked about, you can tailor the content to the particular role. You could have completely different content for a sales manager than for a salesperson, or the customer service manager compared to the actual customer service rep who's on the phone. Okay, I was going to do a live demo, but the demo gods aren't with me today. So these slides are all in the deck. So if you want to go look at it later, you'll be able to see this. So this is what Learning Path looks like once it's opened. So we've landed here in the sales app, in the sales activity dashboard, and this would be the first time you've chosen to invoke Learning Path with the question mark. Welcome, we got a welcome video, and you can see whether you want to, there's tours as well as topic links out to docs.microsoft.com. So I'll give you an example. Ooh, that's nasty. I'll skip that one. Again, this is a tour, very, very similar to the task guide, slightly different look. Walks the first-time user, where am I going to find things in the toolbars? How do I get to my favorites? Adding new records, some advanced search options, and returning to this sort of help. Learning Path can also navigate the user to a specific area. So if the user has chosen, they want to see about how to go from a lead to opportunity, it would navigate right to that section and again offer guided tours as well as contextual help. Wow, my aspect ratio is really bad. Anyway, these are more tours. That's the gist of Learning Path. It's been a very exciting journey working with a new modality of offering help. Just like Tammy said, we'd love to hear feedback. There's smiley face feedback that you can put feedback right in Learning Path. Again, also all the ways that Tammy talked about providing us feedback on docs.microsoft.com, which we do listen to. And the other thing is, again, we are also going to start a pilot project where you can contribute directly to the docs if you're willing to log in. And it's all a GitHub backend, and we get all the doc requests, and we're hoping to be able to allow more of our technical audiences to participate in the content itself, which is going to be pretty exciting. Any questions on customer engagement, Learning Path, on-prem, online? Yes?
Learning Path is only available online.
That is correct.
Any idea actually who we wrote that?
Well, we're considering it. We're talking about it. It would have to be a mixed model, of course, because Learning Path is all in Azure. So we are looking into that. I don't have a roadmap for it, though. Yeah. Okay.
If I take Microsoft Dynamics on-prem,
Yes.
put it on Azure, would then it be available?
I don't think so, but that's a good question. So yes, see me afterwards, and I'll yeah.
The whole Dynamics on-prem on Azure is complicated.
It is.
It's nice to know more about how to do that, and how much of Azure can you use if you're on-prem on Azure as opposed to.
That's an excellent question, and I'll take that back, and we'll see if we can get a session on that next time. So that's a good idea. Anything else? Over here? A little bit of what? Oh, formatting on tooltips. That is not in our roadmap, but I will put it on the ideas site and get some of your friends to vote it up, and we'll see if we can get that in. They do take, about 10 suggestions that have been voted up on the ideas site per release. So the more people that ask for things like that, the more you get. You definitely have formatting if you do it through Learning Path, though. So if you use the guided tasks with the bubbles, you do have formatting there. Okay. Over here? Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah, I'll repeat the question. Is Learning Path available in the mobile apps? Absolutely. And it's the exact same authoring experience. There's a way to simulate when you're in the Learning Path Designer. There's a way to simulate being on the mobile device. Actually, I should qualify. It's on the tablets, it's not on phones. Phones are a little bit too small. Any other questions? Okay, well, as Tammy and I said, we're really excited that we have a new platform to deliver our content on. MSDN and TechNet getting a little crusty and old, and so for those of us who are trying to deliver information to you and to the actual end users, it's actually really exciting for us because we just have a lot more features there that we can work with to make it a good experience for you. So thanks for coming. If anybody wants to come up and talk afterwards, that would be great. Thank you.